Hello and welcome back to video number 3. Today's video in the Idiot's Guide to modding your team in My Team or your setup, whatever you want to do. If you want to overwrite existing teams, for example, for the drive crew, you can do it in exactly the same way as well. We are going to talk about the crew uniforms, i.e. the polo shirts, the uniforms they wear in and around the race hub. So, first thing we will need to do is we will need to I'm going to talk about, when I can find it, sponsors. So you'll notice in here I've got loads and loads of files. We've got files that are imagery of each individual sponsor in the game, the fake sponsors that the game uses in the My Team mode. These are easy to find if you go onto race department, and a kind chap has downloaded an entire file with all of these already in them. I would suggest going and finding that. I'll put a link at the bottom, and I'll also give props to that person in the link when I put it up in the comments. We've also got these. So these I've taken from the game itself, and these you can find by going back to your ERP archive. You open your ERP archive. So we go all the way back to our main screen. Asset groups, character package, team livery, and then you find your relevant team livery. So we'll use Ferrari as an example, and we'll go into their archive. So we're going to ignore all of this because this isn't really important, because this governs the driver uniforms rather than the team uniforms. However, what we do want is a Ferrari logo. So you'll see here that you've got, in fact, we'll use the negative because it's a little bit more clear. So you've got here all the different logos that Ferrari use and their texture patterns. So if you wanted to use real world already in-game things, you can use them from here. You can find imagery as well on Google and import that if you want to, because at the end of the day we're creating something in Photoshop. You can do whatever you want to do in game in terms of that with sponsors. You can introduce, for example, you could have a different manufacturer in the game that isn't in the game. So you could bring back Jaguar or Jordan, things like that. Now, all we have to do, if you want to use any of these, and there's one for each individual team, is textures export. And that will then give you files that look like this. So we'll go into McLaren's one, because that's going to be nice and obvious, because it's bright papaya yellow, orange. We don't want to load as an alpha channel because we want the transparencies this here. Now, as you can see, we've got relevant different bits and pieces. I'm going to just, for ease of showing you, I'm going to put a big black box behind this so we can see. There we go. That's a bit better to see. So you've got little liveries, and this is the stuff that appears on the car. You've also, as well, under each driver in a different file, you've got individual ones to the driver. So, for example, Lewis Hamilton might have his own individual sponsors like Monster Energy or watch companies. Individuals will have different sponsorship, but these are the ones generic to the car. So that's where they live. We're not going to save that, but I'll go back to my archiver, and we'll go back to open. And instead, this time, we're going to go into drivers. So we're in the asset groups, character package drivers. We'll go into mail. Now you've got every single driver in here. So, for example, we will find Lewis. There he is. We'll go into Lewis, and we'll also, in here, we'll have logos. So there's the main logo pack, and there should, in here somewhere, can't see the wood for the trees. You can search up here as well. I haven't mentioned that before, but you get the logo pack for him. So you've got things like his name, things like Valtteri's name in here. Now these are what's used for when drivers change cars in game. The names still appear on the different cars, still appear on their race uniforms. That's why it's separate to the uniforms themselves, because they can change. The game can then recognize it and change. So, for example, we've got an AMG livery in here. Now, I've used that on my setup because my car is a Mercedes engined one. You would have an AMG badge on it. So, for example, I've used that. But this is how you get the sponsors for your setup. Now we're going to go into the actual changing things around itself. So if we go into Teamwear, so the only thing that I've got in here, so there's only one file that we need to change for this, and that's this. So to find this, we go back into my archiver, the ERP archiver, we open, so we go all the way back up to where we were before, asset groups. We're going to go into animation package this time, scenes, garage crew, 2020, and we're going to open the garage crew there. Now, this is where all the team uniforms are kept. So here we go. We got Force India. It's still called in here because they haven't updated the names. Haas, McLaren, Mercedes, and then, so we're going to go all the way down. So we used Williams, so I'll use Williams as an example. So here's their setup. So to get this, which is in essence a template into off the game and into your, to be able to edit it, you go to export as we did before. We close that for the minute. So, and that then will give you something that looks similar to this. So this, I've used the actual Williams setup because I like their polo shirt styling, the beading around the collar. But this is how mine looks. So I'm going to mark out some areas just so you know what's going on. So this here, up here, and all this up here, you can leave alone. This is the radio around the belt and various different other placeholders. It's not really important, as is that. So everything here that I've now put a line through is not really key, so I've found. So we've got as well, we've got a few areas of note. So you've got shoes here. Okay, you can edit them if you wish. I've literally just changed the blue highlights that Williams had on them to red and green because that's two of my team's main colors. You've got this here. So this area, which is your team's trousers or shorts, depending on what they're wearing. Again, I've not changed that from Williams. I've just put some color accenting to change the blue. You've then got in this area here. So these are your sleeves. Again, they are pointing down towards the cuffs in both aspects. You'll notice that, and if I just undo all of that, just so you can see, you'll notice I've left this area here blank. Now there's a reason for that, because a badge for your team will appear there. So if you've got something there, if you've got sponsors there, it'll write over and it'll look a bit strange. But these are your sleeves. And then this is your shirt. So you've got the front panel is there, and then you've got the back panels. Now this wraps around and meets in the middle. So if you want to put a design on the back, you'll have to have one half there and one half there, and it'll require a bit of tinkering to line it up. In my case, I've just kept it simple. It's just a black t-shirt with all the design on the front. So this is your racewear. Once you've finished your design, you then simply save it in the way you want to. So we're going to quit out of that. We're then going to go back to our archiver. And then, so in the search box at the top, we're going to type my. That's all you need. Now you'll notice we've got all this. So you import your textures, import, you save it when it asks you to. The mic folder you leave alone. This, so is again the textures file. So I've imported it direct from Williams and then just loaded the Williams one into there. And again here. And the only thing I've done in this image is you'll notice there's some orange writing here, which is AMG. There used to be Williams writing here. You can very faintly see it, but basically I've dabbed that out because again, if it shows in here, if it's darker in here, it will still show on your race uniforms, and then load that in. that is it in terms of loading things into that side of the garage, into the out of pit crew garage. I'm going to leave this video here, mainly because the next one I will talk about the pit crew uniforms, which is a bit more involved because there's more than one file. But that is us now well on the way to starting our own team. We've got our own badge and our own identity. We now have our own uniforms that we can wander around the paddock in. So we're looking a little bit more professional. You will see on the screen are the two links, one to my profile and one to the next video in the series. Please, again, give it a like, give it a follow if you found this useful, because that's all I'm trying to do, is trying to assist things that have taken me a little bit while to get my head around, and even I'm a little bit geeky, and so I thought, just if it helps one person out, then great. For now, I will leave it at that, and I will bid you farewell until the next video.